Hey everybody, it's me, Angel Benton, and it is time for another edition of Angel's Sudsy Recap, where we delve into the world of daytime television and do a few reality shows on the side. And one of those shows, the reality shows, is Below Deck Med. You know what I really wish? I wish that I had the brains or the know-how to do like really cheesy, shitty backgrounds behind me. Um, like, okay, so on Dancing for Relevancy this season, Mr. T did this music video, and I joked on Twitter that it had Debbie Gibson production value, and I would much rather even watch that than watch. Well, I don't even remember what it was. I was supposed to that I said I'd rather watch Mr. T. Maybe Nick, maybe I don't know, but it was annoying. But whatever. So I would love to just make that shitty production value. You know, if I could do white screen with this white background, but I'm not always at the white background, so it wouldn't work, and it probably only works with green or blue screen anyway. So, but it's a nice dream. Okay, so because what I would do is I would have like an ocean in the background for me for my Below Deck recaps because I love it so much. Okay. So, all right. So for Below Deck, you know I love Hannah. I love Hannah. And you know what is unfortunate is that there was tension in this week's episode between Hannah and Bugsy. And a lot of that tension was caused by Adam, the meddling chef. I gotta talk about Adam. I've got to. I mean, this whole episode was basically all about Adam. Now, I'm not gonna lie. At the end of the episode, a lot of people are really pissed off at him. You know, and what's funny is that so the charter guests were the exact same as they had last year. They came back, and in spite of the fact that they had to eat onions 3 nights in a row, they still left the biggest tip thus far of the season. So that is like really speaking. That actually says that those people that are classy. Those charter guests are really classy. So kudos to you, because they know that Hannah and her team were doing their best. The deck crew was doing their best. Just the chef was an asshole. And Captain Sandy's a badass captain, and it's so true. And they were like, you know what? Here's the thing: if we could make one change, Sandy, we would just change the chef. And they said that in front of everyone, but they did give a tip. So you know, I would listen to what they had to say. I mean, like, but okay. So let's think about this. So first of all, you got to understand that I don't think that the captains have the final say on who gets cast on the boat. I think that that's actually the producers of the show. I don't know this. You know what? Did I ask Kyle that question? How did I not ask Kyle? I had 40 minutes with him and I didn't ask him that question. He could have easily answered that. I know that there's a whole casting process that you go through to get on that show. But I don't think the captain has 100% say. You know, like I remember when Andrew Sturby was on the original Below Deck, he was like, I lied about my resume. I lied about my experience, right? Now, there's none of that going on here. Sandy knows she's got a very green crew, you know, but at the same time, I don't know. So anyway, so thinking of that, you know, you have to go through the producers. Even if Sandy does have the final say, I'm sure the producers are involved because it's on television. Secondly, I don't know what is the availability of chefs when you're in Croatia in the Mediterranean. I mean, like, can you find one that'll just hop on a boat in the middle of the season? I don't know if you can or not. You know, maybe Ben might, but you know, we certainly don't want to see Leon back. And trust me when I say this, Adam is better than Leon. And I think Kate Chastain out there would probably agree with me on that. Okay, you know what I was reminded of? And I'm sorry I keep flashing back to the original Below Deck because Below Deck Med, it's all the same, right? So I was thinking, I couldn't really stand her normally, but I really did love this one part where Rocky, remember Rocky, the crazy Rocky, the mermaid Rocky, nuts Rocky, Eddie and Rocky? She was, I remember when she was ironing the captain's shirt. I don't know why that cracked me up. I'm sorry, it was really funny. Okay, so anyways, all right, so let's talk Malia. So Malia has found herself in a bit of a quandary. And I did find it interesting that on Watch What Happens Live this week, Sandy was like, I had no idea Malia, you know, was in that romantic predicament. But the reality is she was a hoe, right? Well, no, that's not nice. I don't mean that she was a hoe, but she definitely was, you know, here's the thing. Okay. When you're on a boat with the exact same people. See, I've never done a cruise ship or a yacht, but I have lived overseas. And living in Japan with now this was before I spoke Japanese. This was before I studied it. This is how I initially fell in love with the culture. And do you know how I originally learned how to speak Japanese? Okay, there was 3 ways. The first way was my partner, her name is Andy. We were partners out on the set. We were very close friends with Peter Pan and Wendy. She was fluent. And she studied. Like, she went to class. This bitch was fierce. She really was. And what's funny is that there were some people that were on the contract. When we started out, I was like, God, their Japanese is so good. Mine will never be that good. Now that I look, and she was like, are you kidding me? They're the worst. They are the absolute worst. And now that I can speak it a lot better, I tend to agree with her. You know, there's 2 in particular. One of them, though, has gotten a lot better because he's lived there. He lives there now, so I'm excited to see him. Boon-chan, what's up? But the other one, Shay, she said that he was the absolute worst. And I don't think he was claiming to be the, you know, I vaulted him in my head like he was just like this amazing guy that, you know, spoke so much Japanese. So I learned a lot from her. So first of all. Second of all, I would go to my little video store. It was called Tsutaya. And I would get a different Sailor Moon and or Power Rangers. And I would watch it. Because here's the thing about the Power Rangers the show, Super Sentai. Every season is kind of different. And the season that I started with was called Kyoryu Sentai Jurenja, which meant, I don't remember I don't remember it. But it was the year that they actually did the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So they took way more liberties with Power Rangers than they did with Sailor Moon. So I was totally, you know, there were some parts that I was like, what the fuck with the story? Sailor Moon was pretty close. And because I kind of knew what was going on. But that's how I started learning. And then I would also watch the music videos on Space Shower TV because there was no MTV Japan back then. There was just Space Shower TV. But it was still great. Even though the production values weren't as good as American videos, it was still great. I loved it. That's how I started learning Japanese. And then I came and I went to school for it. But anyways, regardless, okay. So when you're trapped in that environment, right? Everything is heightened, right? Your sexuality gets heightened. Like everyone is so cute. I swear to God that towards the end of my time in Japan, I needed to be hosed down. Like I was crazy, right? But, you know, and things happen. You know, Wes broke his cardinal rule of not getting involved with anyone he works with, and he kissed Malia. Adam doesn't really give a fuck. He doesn't really have that rule, and he grabbed her face and kissed her that same night. I want to hear from the ladies out there, not so much from the gay boys because it doesn't really apply to you, but to my ladies out there, I want to know, how would you feel if some guy just grabbed you and kissed you in the face? Even if it was a guy you were sweating and it was a guy that was, you were interested in, kind of like you wanted to at least know more about him or whatever. It's not like it was like some rape situation, or some Bill Cosby bullshit, but it was definitely, I feel like he definitely took advantage of the situation. Not of necessarily Malia, but he definitely took advantage of the situation. And so on this episode, Malia, once again, first she goes off with Adam, and they have another little kiss at the Kirka waterfalls, which are fucking gorgeous, by the way. Oh my God, they're so beautiful. And then secondly, Um, there was, then she found out about this whole onion shit and how bad he's been talking about Hannah. And this was the best part. This was the best part. Um, so Adam had said, Adam had said, I don't know, they got into some fight last week, and Adam said something, and Hannah's retort was, well, why don't we need to get a chef that can read a fucking preference sheet. And, or no, before she said that, she said, oh, I guess I'm just a bad chief stew then. And he's like, well, Bugsy's good. Right? That is bad, because now you've inserted Bugsy in between your war with Hannah, and that's not cool. That's not cool. I did feel bad for Bugsy. Not crying, sobbing, felt bad like I did when her grandma died, because that I had a moment. But it was pretty low down. And then later the next day, Hannah said something like, why don't you give the guests what they need, or something like. She had some sort of question like that, and he was like, and he had his back towards the Hannah, and he's like, what are you gonna serve him, bitchy resting face? And Captain Sandy was standing right next to Hannah, and I was like, yes! And Hannah felt so vindicated. She's like, and unfortunately, Captain Sandy never found out that all 3 nights he was serving them onions. But she did find out about onions. She's like, what the fuck am I hearing the word onion? I can't believe that's even coming out of their mouth right now. Really? Really? And she should have fired him. But she didn't, and I get why. I kind of explained that already. So we'll see next week, because there's a cute guy that Hannah comes on board and turns Hannah's head. So I can't wait to see that. So anyways, thank you so much for logging on today. I do appreciate it. Please feel free to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Angel Benton. You can also hashtag Below Deck Med to chat Below Deck Med with me, or you can hashtag Days to talk Days of Our Lives, because that is coming up tomorrow. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful night. Peace out. Wubba, wubba, wubba.